In this episode of GitHub Copilot CLI for Beginners, we're going to explore instructions files, agents, and skills, which all allow you to ensure that Copilot is following the exact same patterns and practices that your organization has laid out and that you're already following. Ensuring Copilot works with existing patterns and practices our organizations have set forth is key to success. To support this, Copilot has several capabilities between instructions files, custom agents, and agent skills to ensure you get the code and activities how you'd have completed them if you did them manually. Let's explore each of these separately, then bring them together at the end to see how they help us form a cohesive strategy. Let's start with instructions. Sort of as the name would suggest, instructions are exactly that, instructions to Copilot. They provide Copilot the background of both what we're building and how we're building it. Defined in Markdown files, instruction files come in two core varieties: a single centralized Copilot-instructions file, which is project level, and .instructions file, which allow you to target specific types of files like tests or code used to define APIs. Let's make a quick request of Copilot to see the impact of instructions files. I'll ask for an API to be generated, which in the case of my application is done using Python and Flask. We can see the response is relatively generic. It follows my existing patterns, but let's say our organization requires docstrings. Let's add a Copilot instructions.md file. The Copilot instructions file is global to that entire project and always in context. If we explain we always want docstrings, then send the same command, we see the impact of this. A docstring is now included with the function in the generated code. Copilot instructions is table stakes. Every project should have one. It's so important, in fact, that there's a slash command to generate them, /init. This will give you a great starting point from which you can add specifics about your project. Now, .instructions files allow you to get more specific, targeting individual types of files. In our Flask API, for example, we have specific requirements on how we want those files to be built. By adding a .instructions files, we can break down our instructions into smaller chunks. The apply to section accepts a path which will be used by Copilot to determine when to use that provided context. In our case, we've specified Python files in our server routes folder. As you might expect, there are common instructions you might want to add, like how to create React components or playwright tests. There's a collection of instructions files you can quickly add to your project at gh.io/awesome-copilot. Turning our attention to activities and tools we might want to provide Copilot our agent skills. Skills can be used to tell Copilot both how we want to create that code, but how we want to perform lower-level tasks. They are defined with Markdown files and even scripts in the .github/skills folder. We've got a skill here for creating contributions to a repository. It instructs Copilot to look for contribution guidelines and issue and pull request templates. If those exist, it will use those or use the templates we've given it as an example to ensure Copilot is doing its best work. Skills can be called by using them as slash commands, make contribution in our case, or dynamically through natural language. When we ask Copilot to make a pull request, or PR, it automatically kicks off that skill following the guidance provided. It generates a new branch, an issue, logically groups commits, and eventually creates a PR using the template defined in the repository. And just like before, there are skills available that you can use in your projects at gh.io/awesome-copilot. Now, for larger tasks, we have custom agents. Custom agents, defined in Markdown files, either in .github/agents or by your organization, allow you to create specialized workers for particular scenarios. Let's take accessibility as an example. Accessibility is, of course, important, and we always want to get it right. It can also require updates to numerous parts of our application and some specialized skills. Custom agents have their own context and are built for exactly this. Using the /agent command, we see the list of agents that are available. Let's activate that accessibility agent and ask Copilot to perform a review identifying the most impactful updates that could be made to our code. Just as before, Copilot diligently performs the task, this time as the accessibility custom agent. Once it generates the suggestions, we can then ask it to apply them, and off it goes. Instructions, skills, and agents are all defined as Markdown files, and you might be wondering when to use each. It's important to highlight that these are built to be used in harmony with one another rather than an either-or approach. Instructions provide context on how best to generate code, the things Copilot should be considering as it modifies and updates the codebase. Skills are tools in Copilot's toolbox for performing tasks, like how it should approach running tests and recovering from failures, or creating a PR to a project. And agents are built to handle more complex tasks, like performing search engine optimization or an accessibility review, which might require updates to the entire project. Working together, these features ensure tasks are completed correctly, both what needs to be done and how it needs to be done.